Welcome to the Left Coast Live. This is Dieter McBusiness, your host, joined as always by the one and only Stat Pat Stateless Patriot. I got a chance to interact with you, the audience, early today, live with a live reaction to Tim Walz being introduced by Kamala Harris as her running mate. The first ever I think it's the first ever presidential ticket that doesn't include a law degree, or the first vice presidential nominee that doesn't have a law degree, because obviously Kamala's got one. But anyway, Stat Pat,
Really?
tell us about your initial reaction to the news. What do you think of the choice? I mean, there's so much to talk about, but why don't we just get your initial thoughts, and were you surprised by this?
I actually was. I mean, honestly, it was kind of like half spoiled leading up to it because all it came down to was her and Josh Shapiro. And there were a lot of rumors circulating that it wasn't actually going to be Josh Shapiro yesterday. It was actually like, because you weren't really seeing Josh Shapiro being pushed or promoted anywhere. Like, Waltz has been getting most of the attention um, on mainstream media and whatnot.
Right.
So like, but when I like, I'm genuinely surprised because I have always, as long as I followed politics, expected to be disappointed by Democrats and
Right.
moves like this. You know,
Right.
Tim.
Manage expectations. Always a good idea.
Yeah, Tim Kaine was an awful pick. Like, and you know, in 2020 when Biden clinched, when he got the Democratic nomination, you know, at the time, Kamala Harris didn't really seem like
Yeah.
too interesting of a pick either. So it was like,
Right.
yeah, so like this right here is very, I don't, this is new to me. It's very refreshing, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of youthful energy behind it. He comes off as normal. He's very likable.
Right.
He's a down to earth
Folksy.
guy. Yeah, like a common man. He was a teacher. He served in the military.
Wife is a
Like,
teacher too. All three out of the four kids in his family are
yeah,
teachers, or no, all of them are teachers, and then three out of four of them married teachers. I mean, it's ridiculous. We're gonna watch the speech, an edited version of the speech, so we'll be able to
yeah,
get through it in about 10, 15 minutes of my live reaction earlier today.
yeah.
But until then, I think you're right. I mean, he's folksy, he's friendly, but he's also strong-willed. I mean, the fact that he's got these videos up of him like how to do car maintenance. I mean, this
Yeah.
guy is like a political marketer's dream. I mean, we talk all the time about policy, politics, and political marketing, and right now we got a great piece on the chessboard, a new
Yeah.
white knight, so to speak.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like it's I'm still processing it. That's the thing. I still like can't believe, like, because it came down to five people in the end. Josh Shapiro, Roy Cooper, Mark Kelly, Andy Bashir, and Tim Walz. And knowing the Democratic Party and their endless capitulations to corporations or the moderates and centrists or the more right wing esque Democrats, I was fully expecting Kamala Harris to go with a more moderate choice, you know, one that would not really alienate that, you know, the blue dog Democrats. Instead, she went with like by far the most progressive pick, the most progressive governor in the country, like super successful governor, big big left wing record, I should say, and it's just it's shocking. It's shocking in the way. Like I'm kind of at a loss for words, honestly. I wasn't expecting her to go through with that. Like, he wasn't even
Well,
in like my top picks when.
let's do some. Oh, go ahead. You were
No, no,
behind a little
he
bit.
wasn't
Go
even
ahead.
in
You
my,
finish your thought.
like when it came to like considerations like early on. Okay, like okay, if Biden's dropping out and Kamala Harris is now the front runner for the Democratic nomination, who's going to be her running mate. And the first names that came to mind were the other names that were taken in polls for replacing Biden, because there was talk
Right.
about replacing Biden and whatnot. And so the first names that came to mind were like more the obvious picks, like Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer, J.B. Pritzker. We talked about Wes Moore. So like Tim Walz wasn't exactly at the forefront of my mind, let alone I think a lot of lefties, honestly. Um, I mean, mostly because like it seemed like too much of a far cry, a little bit more far fetched, and soon enough, like the race narrowed down, and he was like one of the final contenders, and here we are. Honestly, like I'm shocked, honestly.
Yeah, I'm thrilled. I'm think that
Yeah,
let's do a little empathetic
relatively.
arithmetic, okay? Kamala Harris wants to be different than Joe Biden. She also wants to be different than Barack Obama. She
Yeah.
definitely wants to be different than Bill Clinton if you want to go back into the 90s. But the point is that she wants to establish a legacy for herself. This is a big responsibility to be the first female president.
Yeah.
And we already know, based on her performance, that she's working with some really good coaches. And
Yes.
those coaches are helping her be more present in public. And sorry, the dogs are going ballistic. Hold on one second. You
Okay.
can just talk.
Sure. Yeah. Tim Waltz, baby, balls to the walls. Yeah. No. d- I'm just so relieved. There's a whole lot of hype around this. Like I actually watched part of the rally when I stopped to get like a milkshake. It was starting to go, and I realized, oh, Dieter was actually streaming as well. So I interacted with him on his stream about it. Um, yeah. So where did you?
All right. So what was I saying? So what I was saying was Tim Wall. Okay. So Kamala might be smarter than we give her credit for.
Big time.
And she might look at the Republicans and say, wait a second, what are they doing that we're not? Not necessarily we're going to do everything the way that they do, but what can we learn from the way they operate at this time in the timeline?
Yeah.
Okay? After right before the convention, you got that gap of time into the debates. It's going to be a very short period of time in between the Democratic Democratic convention and the first debate because
Yeah.
the Democratic convention is so late for some reason.
Right. Yeah.
And I think what she learned by watching the Republicans is they play to the base.
Yes.
And she was able to play to the base with Walz in such a way that doesn't give away her hand.
Yes.
Because I noted this in my reaction. I said, they're going to try to label him progressive, and he's going to have to choose to either be defined by that label or to do us all a huge favor and finally define that label, because it's not defined well enough in public discourse. I hear Morning Joe and I hear Destiny and I hear all these liberals talk about progressives as if we're the problem, as if progressivism equals wokeness. And that's just not true. That's
Ridiculous.
not a fair assessment of progressivism.
Not at all.
If you want to reduce it down to a handful of policies, we should talk about Medicare for all, raising the minimum
Yes,
wage, which
exactly.
Walz did, by the way. So she was smart. She played to the base. She realized that if she picked Shapiro, she was going to have all kinds of Israel issues, and progressives like you and I were going to speak up, and people were going to make a point and not vote for Kamala because of just Shapiro. It would have hurt her in Michigan, like you pointed out.
Yeah. No. It
Bashir
totally
would have been an
would've.
interesting choice, but he's very skilled and pedigreed, and I can relate to Bashir. I think that would have been an exciting choice, but not the right choice ultimately. The
Yeah.
more reliable voters are the older voters. The Gen Xers are starting to think about retirement. They need this country to be in somewhat functional shape before they get into retirement, or their retirement is going to be put into jeopardy. So I think the Democrats need to appeal to the Gen X liberals and younger progressives.
Yes.
And I think he's going to start talking about student loan debt relief. Except that's kind of admitting that Biden didn't do enough. So I don't know what issues he's going to lead with. We can watch, if you want to just quickly get into, unless you got some other comments, we can get into watching the speech in edited form. So it's
Yeah.
really just the best parts.
A few things. He
Okay, do it.
it really can't be overstated how genius of a pick that Waltz was for Kamala Harris. The fact that they are basically the same age, and that he doesn't alienate the older demographic that was basically going for Biden regardless, and he also comes off as likable, like across demographics. Like he'll like he's a teacher, like he's taught children. There's a viral clip of him and his daughter at the fair, and he he knows how to pop off jokes. He's an effective messenger. He's rhetorically skilled. Not to mention he's got the progressive uh, a history as governor and accomplishments to boot. Like he's like the whole package. And now I'm curious if he will be an eventual successor to Kamala Harris. Like that's how good of a pick this is, honestly. Above and beyond. Because you mentioned
Okay.
Andy Bashir earlier, and I think pedigreed is actually like a
Right.
really good term for him, because like that's how he kind of came off to me. He came across as more like a Democratic, like establishment elite, likable enough, but not like a good old boy, like a working man, I guess you could say. That of Tim Waltz, a lot more relatable.
Yeah, Bashir would have been interesting, but ultimately would have been an obvious successor for Kamala. Now
Hmm.
we get someone that I believe will not run in 8 years. I
Maybe.
don't know when it's going to come up. I don't know if it's going to come up in this election season or in her second term or whenever. But I do believe the sooner he makes it public that he's not going to run for president, probably after the election, whatever, once they get into their term and she like tasks him with something, like, okay, Walls, go fix education. I've always felt like the teachers union has been vilified by the right in an incredibly effective way. I'm amazed
Yeah.
as to how much disdain I run into for public school teachers. And I'm like, do you realize how hard that job is? Do you have any idea how pain in the ass some of those kids are?
Oh,
How they
Dieter.
just refuse to do the work?
It's because they're being propagandized and brainwashed to be woke and turn into communists. Don't you know?
I love how little respect conservative parents have for their kids.
No
That's what
kidding.
all of the anti-wokeism is all about. It comes back to parents having conservative parents having no confidence in their own ability to instill values in their kids that the kids will bring into their life in such a way that would protect them from some things that they're worried about.
I couldn't agree more. When I was at Six Flags with my mom and my household and girlfriend, saw this guy and his wife and three daughters. He's walking along with them, and the back of his shirt, like he's just this big hefty guy. The back of his hoodie, it says, "Just just a dad trying not to raise liberals." Just, just like, come on, dude. Like, how insecure can you be? Just three young girls, none of them like probably like even older than 5 or 6. It's like, what kind of like I wanted to say something really bad. It's like, yeah, dude, I don't think women deserve rights either, dude. Like, way to go. Like, you got your values in order. Like, give me a break, dude. You're completely right. They really do not have any respect for their own children. They see them as
No.
extensions of themselves, not their own
Themselves. They're
people. Yeah,
narcissists. I know,
exactly.
it's crazy.
And you
It's
wonder why they want their
crazy
votes to count for them. Yeah,
right, their
yeah,
own narcissism. They
yeah,
think they're contributing more to society. It's actually Hitler-esque in that he encouraged all of his inner circle and their inner circles and so forth into having as many kids as possible. He wanted as many kids as possible coming out of Germany.
yeah,
And anyway,
yeah,
yeah. So Walz did well. Let's actually take a look. I'm just
yeah.
gonna. This goes quick, so
Tim Walz!
it's a little
Sweet,
meta. It's a little.
All right.
A little meta. I love it.
This is it. Good. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's going to wait till they shut up.
Okay, so that was me being
Thank you for
excited
bringing back
about
the joy.
Yeah.
being excited about his sense of
This guy-
timing.
Yeah.
Watch. So
knows what he's doing.
so
For
watch.
bringing back.
Okay, so
Mm.
there's
Tim Walz!
you got to think about crowd noise as a wave. Crowd noise comes
Yes.
up and down like a wave, right?
Mhm.
So there's the initial surge, and then you acknowledge the crowd. They acknowledge you back. You go to the microphone. Now it's up to the crowd.
Mhm.
Now they might come up with another surge. If they do, let it happen.
Yeah.
And then that's what he does. Watch this. It's really cool. This is
There's an art to it.
I don't know if it's conditioned. Well, it can be taught. It's not something that it's something that some people are naturally good at, but most people need a little bit of coaching on how to do it right.
Yes.
Stand-up comics understand this very well.
Yeah, I've noticed that Kamala is actually very skilled at this as well.
Walz!
Watch. So okay. So I'll
All right,
acknowledge.
fine. Exactly what he's doing. He's gonna wait
See,
till
what
they
does he
shut up.
wait to start? Yes, he steps away. See, he steps
Thank you.
away.
Yeah.
Watch.
Exactly what he's doing. He's going to wait till they shut up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
Because he
Thank you
doesn't
for bringing back
force
the
it,
joy.
man. He doesn't talk over the crowd.
Correct.
So anyway, this
Correct.
This guy
Yeah.
knows what he's doing. This man is a professional.
But my God, what a treasure you have in Josh Shapiro.
Gentleman.
Sure,
He's a gentleman. That's what class.
When you need
Love
a
it.
bridge fix, call that guy.
One thing everybody knows him for. I don't know.
And I think sometimes, yes, I know this from experience, there is no one you would rather go to a Springsteen concert in Jersey with than, my incredible
That's
wife,
interesting. Like
Gwen, a 29-year public school educator.
Love it.
Don't ever underestimate teachers. Vice President Harris has fought on the
Straight
side
to it.
of the American people. She took down the transnational gangs. She stood up against powerful corporate interests, and she never hesitated to reach across the aisle if it meant improving people's lives.
He's not
Okay,
like you to say
so
that.
All
there
with
it
a-
is, the first sign of bipartisanship.
yeah.
So there's two things that I need to see from the Harris-Walz campaign.
Mhm.
All right, here we go. I'll set this up a little bit.
Mhm.
There are two things I'd like to see from the Harris-Walz campaign. One is an implicit acknowledgement that Walz will not run for president in 8 years so that he effectively becomes like a lefty Cheney. The vice presidency is a very valuable position to be considered. Too many things funnel into the decision-making process for you to not make mistakes. You have to divide labor up and reduce the probability that you're going to make a mistake because you have more time to focus on, let's say, foreign policy, or let's say workers' rights and domestic policy, or let's say just health care. Like, give him a task. So education seems to be the natural one. So that's the one. That was the other thing I was going to say was
Yeah.
I would like to see either Walz or Kamala start talking about winning big, not just winning, but winning big.
Yeah.
And that's now the new word. They're taking back freedom in this speech, and they're taking back another word that I can't remember right now, but they're taking back freedom. The next one I would like to hear them take back is winning and big. So freedom, winning, big.
Yeah. I think.
With a sense of joy.
Oh
My
yeah,
dad served in
they
the Army
hit
during
this
the Korean
thing with
War.
they hit this thing with joy too. That's in reference to Kamala's smile.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Yeah. No. I do think that Kamala Harris comes off as more left than she appears to be, and she's signaled it throughout her rallies and whatnot. Even watching you cover her and her speech and whatnot, yeah, it really is an art of like crowd control because you're anticipating reactions and you're finding that balance, that sweet spot, but you're also like finding those sweet spots to deliver your message effectively, forcefully, and just making an impact with it. Basically, it's it's a skill that you definitely need a lot of practice in because it's not, and because you can just come up there and just stumble and just come off as awkward and whatnot. So it's encouraging to see because I mean Biden was kind of used to it like at that point, but you could tell the cracks were beginning to show.
Well, I think you were right the first time. It's an art that requires both talent and skill. Skill being defined as conditioned ability.
Sure.
You can become a better public speaker.
Of course.
In fact, most people do if they stick with it.
Yeah.
And Kamala Harris is a great example of that.
I was about to
Becoming
say.
a great example of that. So it's good to see.
Yeah, I agree.
But he's always been good because teachers are naturally good at this because their job is
They
to
have to.
communicate with kids.
Yeah.
They have to find creative ways to get the kids' attention. Remember, attention, point of view, point. What are teachers at? What are teachers good at? Getting the kids' attention and then making a point from their point of view.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that is one of my Dieter threes. It is
That's right.
Dieter three stages of influence. Dieter 3, number 3. I guess they're calling them trichotomies because it's the Dieter 3s is a little tough to.
He sounds like he had to say that.
All with a sense of
Oh
joy.
yeah, so that was his first call on bipartisanship and reaching across the aisle. That's the transition I would like to see them make is to we're not just going to win, we're going to win big. We're going to crush conservatism.
Right.
I want the aggro instead of we're not going back. Now where are we going? We're getting aggro. We're going on offense. So
Yeah.
let's see that offense.
That's another thing I actually wanted to bring up as well. The fact that like she picked Waltz, not only is he like well liked by progressives, he also knows a lot of people, a lot of politicians. So if he was to
because he
get
served
in
in
there,
Congress.
he would be like not only an effective, I guess, politician, but he would get in there and he would make friends because when it comes to like pushing forward an agenda, you do need support. So I don't think he would be afraid at all to get in there and visit whoever he needs to, even if he needs to cross like the aisle and get like if they like say if they don't get like the House or the Senate, or just need more support for a bill because some Democrats don't support it, whatever. I think he would show up. Like he would actually play the bully pulpit and be like, "Hey, we need your support on this. Do you need anything in your district, or
Whip
like
the votes.
are you enjoying this that you've been getting like provided or whatever the hell he would he would let you know. He'll let you know if you don't follow along and go forward with the agenda if they were to get into office.
My dad served in the Army during the Korean War. With his encouragement, at 17, I joined the Army National Guard.
Right, it's like to have some service there, some uniform.
The National Guard gave me purpose. The GI Bill gave me a shot at a college education. My dad was a teacher. My brothers and sisters and I followed in their footsteps. 3 out of 4 of us married teachers. For nearly 20 years, I had the privilege of teaching high school social studies and coaching football, including winning that state championship. Don't ever close the yearbook. Don't ever. But it was my students. They encouraged me to run for office. They saw in me what I was
He's
hoping to
excited.
instill in them.
So
Coaching football.
And I like that.
Including winning that state championship.
he's a winner,
For
man.
nearly 20 years.
I mean, this
He- yeah.
guy's a winner.
Hyped
He's just a good, wholesome, folksy winner.
Absolutely.
And I mean, he's kind of a. I mean, looking at the record, historically speaking, he's more of a winner than Kamala is. I mean, she didn't get very
Sure.
far in that presidential primary process.
Right.
She hasn't been proven to be a great campaigner. This guy, on the other hand, looks like he knows how to work a crowd and be himself. Watch this little moment here where he's like,
Yeah.
don't close
Unapologetic.
the yearbook.
Years,
Yeah.
I had the privilege of teaching high school social studies and coaching football, including winning that state championship. Don't ever close the yearbook. Don't ever. But it was my students. They encouraged me to run for office. They saw in me
That's
what I was hoping.
wild.
Yeah.
His students encouraged him to run for office. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
What an amazing story that is.
Really though.
I mean, I didn't want to talk over him during the live stream, so I just let it go. But when he said that, I was like, wow.
Yeah. No, there are actually like a few stories I've even seen. Like I guess like there are kids that just sing his praises, like former students of his that are so grateful to him because they weren't exactly like the most like excellent students. They weren't exactly like in the best grades and whatnot. They weren't exactly as into school like me, like C average, and they just hold him in such high regard. Like the stories, like there are multiple
Respect.
stories about it. Big time. This
Yeah,
guy
he's got
has
tremendous
so
respect. His
much
reputation.
respect. Yes.
I think that's how he got the job, is his reputation. He's a Stark, man. You know, watch Game of Thrones?
Me and my girlfriend are about to start it. Actually, she's seen
Okay.
it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, dude, that's what we should attach to him. He's Ned Stark. Winter is coming.
was hoping to instill in them a commitment of common good, a belief that one person can make a difference. 2006, I took a leap and I ran for Congress. Because high school teachers are super optimistic, I was running in a district that had one Democrat since 1892. I worked across
Crazy.
the aisle on veterans issues, on agriculture,
Another
and on ways to grow
bipartisanship,
rural economies. I learned the art of compromise without compromising my values. Took it to Congress and to the state capitol, and now Vice President Harris and I are running to take those very values to the White House.
I'm talking about the DCC.
Okay, I want to hear something along the lines of, we'll reach across the aisle if we have to, but with your help, we won't have to reach that far. Something like that.
I agree. Like don't be like don't signal that you're gonna be too friendly or hand everything out. Like you're going to come to us. You're going to follow along with what we want. And my girlfriend's watching. She loved the fact that you. She said winter is coming in all caps, and she got a kick out of that.
Yeah, man, from Minnesota, it's perfect. You
Oh
kidding me? It's
yeah.
absolutely perfect.
No, exactly.
It's
Exactly.
absolutely perfect.
Too sweet. You need to win big. It's not just win. You got to win big.
Donald Trump sees the world a little differently than us. He doesn't know the first thing about service. He doesn't have time for it because he's too busy serving himself. Trump weakens our economy to strengthen his own hand. He mocks our laws. He sows chaos and division. And that's to say nothing of his record as president. He froze in the face of the COVID crisis. He drove our economy into the ground, and make no mistake, violent crime was up under Donald Trump. That's not even counting the crimes he committed.
They love that. That got a big reaction
I
when
see
I
those
was
old white
watching.
guys. Some of us are old enough to remember when it was
Yep.
Republicans who were talking about freedom. It turns out now what they meant was the government should be free to invade your doctor's
Yeah,
office.
they're going to
In
lose on
Minnesota,
that
we
one
respect
issue alone. Women are going to show up big time.
No, big
The
time.
audacity of Trump to think that he was going to go with another pro-lifer in J.D. Vance
Yeah.
and expand the Trump is a testament to the stupidity of Trump personally and
Yeah.
the arrogance, entitlement, and narcissism of that man, because any idiot who knows anything about American politics would have said, do not highlight pro-life. Do not highlight that you have taken abortion away from the American public and that you're going to proliferate that throughout the rest of the country. But
Yeah.
he's married to the love, the artificial love, that he and his Confederate flag-waving, Bible-beating, gun nut base have for one another.
Yeah. Not to mention just another thing that we really got going for us is just how in disarray the right continues to be.
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah,
like
they're flailing.
Trump is consistently being told like, stop talking about Kamala's race. Stop talking about.
I know.
Like
He's such an idiot.
Yeah, and like he like has reportedly just been so just adamant on not stopping like he, and so he's just persistent on it, and it's clearly hurting him, like among other things.
Respect our neighbors and their personal choices that they make. There's a golden rule. Mind your own
Okay,
damn
that
business.
was huge. I've been waiting for a prominent Democrat to say this for a
yes.
really, really long time.
Yes.
Hey, you white trash rural busybodies with nothing better to do than to get in between a woman and her right to choose between having a baby and not having a baby. You need to get the hell out of their lives, get your own life, and regardless of whether you do or don't, mind your own goddamn business.
I was
Don't care. I'm sick of showing them respect. I mean, who do they think they are, inserting their values
Exactly.
into other people's lives? They think this country belongs to them. It is the hardest part of coming to terms with MAGA trash and who they are is coming to terms with their narcissism. How could people who are so poorly educated, so uniquely ignorant, so singularly inexperienced with respect to traveling the world and exposing oneself to different points of view, peoples, places, and things, how could they think that they are exceptional? American entertainment culture, I suppose, is to ultimately blame for this because we raise our kids thinking that they're snowflakes and they're all unique and individual. And that's true up until a point, but we've talked about it a lot of times. It's actually the mature perspective to say, you want to be special? Cool. Go out and do something special.
Yeah.
Go earn it. These narcissistic MAGA trash idiots, bullies, and cowards don't want to work for it. They want it handed to them. That's why it's right-wing projection when they say that lefties are a bunch of losers looking for a handout, looking for a free lunch. Bullshit. That's what they want in the form of cultural praise. They want everything to be about them. And Hollywood really pisses them off.
Yeah.
Because they can't stand that they're not a more catered to audience in our pop culture.
Yep. Yeah. No, it was so. I was so happy to hear that line just spoken outwardly, and like he means it. A golden rule. A golden rule. Mind your own damn business. Like these people talk about big government. What bigger example
Right.
do they support, or what bigger example is there that they're like completely in line with and completely okay with of big government than controlling women's bodies and the right to choose?
It's funny because if they let go of this one issue, if they would just get over abortion, they could have their way on so many other things.
No, literally, and Trump even knows it too. He's like trying his damnedest to say like, hey, just leave it up to the states. Like we shouldn't. I don't want a national abortion ban. We should stop talking about it. I don't believe in Project 2025. You should get that out of there. And lo and behold, on the websites and whatnot, they scrub that. Like their want for a national abortion ban. But you know, he would totally fucking go through with it if he was presented to it. I really do think like real actual libertarianism needs to make a comeback on the right, because like what happened to live and let live, for crying out loud, it's just so, it's gotten just so.
The religious right happened.
Yeah. No, yeah.
The religious right has happened and
The
will always be. I'm telling you guys,
weirdos.
You're never going to kill racism. You're never going to kill white trash ignorance. You're never going to kill the culture of Bible beating in America. I brushed up against it earlier today, and I had to keep my mouth shut. And it was brutal. It was absolutely brutal to have to sit there, and just out of respect for my mother, I just had to keep my mouth shut.
Right.
And it's just like, do you know how much damage your culture has done to our society? Look at all of the bullshit that we have been distracted by because of you.
Yeah.
Like school prayer was this fight that took like 20 years to win. I mean, what?
Yeah.
Evolve, you idiots. Get over shit. Grow up.
Right.
Grow up.
Seriously.
You can't have abortion. You're done. If you're pro-life, you might as well go live someplace else or not bother voting. Please do us all a favor and don't bother voting.
Yeah.
Because you don't understand what freedom
No,
is.
I completely. I'm so. It makes me sad that these people are so adamant voters. Like, I try to. I bite my tongue. I try my hardest. Like, I have uncles on Facebook, and I just try not to engage. But like even one of them, like, still to like even now, like I'm sure if I go past it, like it has like multiple Trump 2024 flags all over the front of his property, like two or three maybe. It's like big and bold, you know, like just proudly ignorant, you know. It's
Yeah.
it's pathetic.
Yeah, it is pathetic. It's,
Yeah.
They want to feel like winners. They're losers who want to feel like winners.
Exactly.
That's what MAGA trash are. They're losers who want to feel like winners.
Yeah.
Now, Tim Walz is a nice enough guy because he's a teacher to not call them losers. His coaches are, and I having been a coach recently, I am very much against calling people losers.
Right.
But it's appropriate in this circumstance.
Of course.
There we go, finally, somebody said it. He's on a roll, folks. First we had beer, now he has mind your own damn business. I've been saying it for a little while now, but we're a little busybody. Nothing better to do than to get up and with their neighbors' reproductive organs.
These guys are after my heart, chanting, mind your own damn business. That feels good, so thank you. So it wasn't by chance that when we welcomed our daughter into the world, we named her Hope. When Vice President and I talk about freedom, we mean the freedom to make your own healthcare decisions.
Hey,
There you go.
freedom over fascism, y'all.
And for our children to be free to go to school without worrying they'll be shot dead in their classrooms.
Yay,
Yeah.
talk about that more
believe
in
the
election years.
NRA is the most powerful lobby in America.
Yeah, the NRA. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, as you heard, I was one of the best shots in Congress, but in Minnesota, we believe in the Second Amendment, but we also believe in common sense gun violence laws.
Talk about how
Kyle Kalinske highlights it all the time. It
Yeah.
says well-regulated militia in
Yes.
the very text. And even if it didn't, I mean, come on. The founding fathers' opinions about automatic weapons and weapons of war, they could never have conceived of nuclear weapons or anything remotely
course.
resembling modern-day warfare. So shut up.
Yeah.
Let's do it on our own. We don't need the framers to give us all the answers like mommy and daddy did.
Yeah.
Come on.
And
we can
Waltz is
think
a
for
really
ourselves.
good. Waltz is even a really good messenger on this because like he owns like a firearm, I believe. He's an owner.
He's a gun owner.
Yeah. Not to mention he's actually like made the argument like, hey, there's nothing in like there's nothing against the Second Amendment that okay. Having like regulations on guns and like gun safety and whatnot is not against the Second Amendment. Like having red flag laws, having background checks and whatnot, that's not against the Second Amendment because if you read it like you just said, well regulated. You know, so like I don't think domestic abusers or people charged with domestic violence should be able to own a gun again. Like that is where you look. Like, because if you look time and time again, like it's people who have those charges on their record that end up killing people, or you know, like I don't believe in that. You saying wife beaters should get guns? Like, come on, gun nuts.
about how it says regulated.
If you're a responsible gun owner, if you're an experienced responsible gun owner, you know that there are nut jobs out there, and you know, or you have to get there with knowing, and maybe you need to be convinced of this to know for sure, that stricter gun laws wouldn't affect you. Why? Because you're a responsible gun owner. Those laws aren't for you. They're for the psychos and the people who shouldn't have guns. So you just have to have a little bit of confidence in the system to get past this idea that we're coming for your guns. If you get past that idea, you realize we're actually just trying to make things safer. And by the way, most Americans want stricter gun laws. That's just, I think it's like 65% or something like that.
Of course. McKnown Productions says, when Harris continues to make the right calls, time to chug coconut water. I totally agree. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? Yeah.
It is in the Second Amendment. The gift drops the path. Thank you for highlighting that.
A place where we settle our political differences not through violence, but with our votes. What direction will this country go in?
You're not going back.
Well, Donald Trump would damn sure take us backwards. Let's be clear about that. And don't believe him when he plays dumb. He knows exactly what Project 2025 will do to restrict our freedom.
Yeah, that was good. I was psyched to see him.
Yes.
Brand him.
I was psyched to see them break out
If
Project
Trump gets a
2025,
chance to
stick that
return,
in his
he's going to pick up
forehead.
exactly where he left off 4 years ago. Only this time, it will be much, much worse.
Drag
It'll cost a middle-class
them.
family. He will repeal the Affordable Care Act, no doubt about it. He'll gut Social Security and Medicare, and when somebody tells you are, they believe him. He said he'd ban abortion across this country, and he'll do it, whether or not Congress is there or not. He set his country club up in Mar-a-Lago, wondering how he can cut taxes for his rich friends. His running mate shares his dangerous and backward agenda for this country. J.D. Vance literally wrote the foreword for the architect of the Project 2025 agenda.
That's true.
Like all regular people I grew up with in the heartland, J.D. studied at Yale, had his career funded by
There I
Silicon
am.
Valley billionaires, and then wrote a bestseller trashing that community. Come on. That's not what middle America is. And I got to tell you, I can't wait to debate the guy.
Yeah, he's going to smoke him
That
in the
is,
debate.
if he's willing to get off the couch and show up. So,
Oh, the line of the night. The line of the night.
Seriously,
Man, mind your
that
own
is,
damn
if he's willing
business.
to get off the couch and show up.
Oh, get off the couch.
Like, who cares if it's not true?
Nice.
The
Yeah,
right have
yeah,
been
baby.
like spreading all sorts of fucking lies that they've stuck to and clung to for years and
Yeah,
years
they
and
can
years.
kiss
Like,
my ass.
Michelle Obama's a man, and this shit. It's like, get over it. That was seriously like I just cackled like a hyena when I heard that. Like, I'm just in the backyard spraying someone's yard with pesticides and whatnot, and I hear that, I'm just like, are you kidding? He went there. Like, now that, like, oh my god, like,
Gets laughs, man. If it gets a laugh, it should be said.
perfect.
Do you get it?
Perfect.
Fucking douchebag.
These guys are creepy, and yes, just weird as hell. That's what you see. That's what you see.
He literally got to become vice president because of one word.
So you know what's out there, so say it with me. We aren't going back. We aren't going back. We are not going back.
He is driven, and I love that.
We'll sleep when we're dead.
That's right, Tim. Work. About to work. All you volunteers out there, people are thinking about volunteering. It's a lot of fun, especially when you win.
Over those next 91 days, and every day in the White House, I'll have Vice President Harris's back. Every single day. You know how this works. We can't do it alone. We need you, each and every one of you. Go over to KamalaHarris.com, get on board, because we need you. Freedom to make our own choices.
Here we go.
This leader, this compassionate, careful, joyous leader,
Okay, cool.
believes in each and every one of you.
So he got like a little. He's like, I don't know what happened with the prompter, or something happened with the prompter. But
I don't
he gets
even
a little
think-
lost here.
I
but
don't even
I don't know what happened.
like.
Was he thinking about going off the prompter for a second, and then he bailed and came back to the prompter? Something happened.
Maybe. I mean, unless he's actually
This
like
leader, this
going.
compassionate,
Yeah,
careful,
you're
joyous
probably
leader.
right,
Joyous,
but like,
they love-
the way he plays it off is like it doesn't even like seem like he's using a prompter. He's just like rehearsed in a way. But you might be right.
Well, he's very experienced.
Yeah.
I mean, don't forget that his experience level is as robust as anyone's. He's more experienced with public speaking than she is because he was in Congress.
yeah.
I mean,
not,
she was in the Senate, but I mean, you know,
Yeah.
he was I don't know.
and not to
With
mention
the
like
governor.
not to mention he was also a teacher, like you said and whatnot. So he's very 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 experienced with this. So like
Right.
maybe he's not using a prompter. Like I'm not exactly sure. I wouldn't be surprised if he is, but it'd be really it was just playing his favor if he wasn't.
Believes in each and every one of you.
Did he get his prompter bounced there for a second? What happened? He got lost there for a second. But
Oh
that's
my God, you came here tonight to sit at the very top because you love this country and you're not going back. We just got to fight. Because as soon to be President Harris says, when we fight, we win.
Get out, get out, get out. Call it. Go. Get out. You're hot. Go.
Thank you, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vice
There you
President.
go. Yeah.
He
I
was.
think there was more there, and he just decided to bail.
Yeah.
Not
he-
positive.
Thank
Let's watch it in real time. This is something I was interested to see if you saw, because I could be just, I don't. You know how sometimes stand-up comedy routines end a little bit earlier than you expect them to?
Yeah.
Or you know how just the basic idea that if a stand-up comic is getting this just huge laugh and he doesn't think that his next joke is going to get as big of a one, shouldn't he just walk off the stage at that point, that huge laugh? So that's what he's doing. It's the same idea. The crowd gets really pumped.
Yeah.
And I think there was more because Kamala talked for 28 minutes and Walz only talked for 18. But I think he could sense that the crowd was getting a little tired and wanted to go have a few drinks. But let's feel it out here.
Yeah.
Get out, get out, get out. Call it. Go. Get out. You're hot. Go.
Thank you, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
We fight, we win.
That's how you ended off, yeah.
Watch.
Get out, get out, get out. Call it. Go. Get out.
Yeah.
You're hot. Go.
Thank
There was
you,
something else on the
Philadelphia.
prompter.
Get out.
He's
get
looking
out.
at the he looks at the prompter. Watch. He looks at the prompter. Do I keep going? Do I keep
Get
going?
out. Get out.
Nope.
Get out.
No.
Call it. Go.
No,
Get
I'm
out.
outta
You're
here.
hot. Go.
Thank you, Philadelphia. Thank you, Vice
There you go.
There it is.
Yes.
God
He walked.
bless
Okay,
It was
I think
definitely
there
something
more
on that
there, and
prompter.
he just decided
That
to bail.
well, that yeah.
Definitely
I'm not
something
positive.
on that prompter.
That
for
tells
sure.
that tells me also he just really he has great instincts.
Yes.
Honestly, like this this is unreal. like just think about where we were a month ago, dude. like honestly, just the doom and gloom. Like it's I'm still like at a loss of words. Like not to monologue for a little bit, but just want to go over something I said earlier. I can't get over how great of a pick that Tim Walz is. Because I can choose to be a cynical socialist to my bones, despiser of the Democratic Party, but I'm just still floored that a month ago, like, despair, just doom and gloom was, like, plaguing anyone paying attention, just bracing for an almost certain Trump future and the implementation of Project 2025 and just desecrating the country for years and years to come. Like the immunity thing, all that. And now the fear and dread has just completely flipped. It's just so shocking. Like the energy and the hope and the vision, like this rally, and now that like Walz and Harris are a team, it's like I mentioned it before on a previous stream. It reminds me of when I saw Bernie come to Sacramento in 2019. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not naive enough to think that her and Walz are saviors that will fix everything. Like, God, no. But a ticket like this is undeniably refreshing and relieving.
Yeah, I'm thrilled. My buddy makes an interesting point to me when he says that he's a little surprised that I like Tim Walz so much because I want the kind of fast-talking fist to the face of the MAGA trash. But that's not really the determining factor. Obviously, if you could put together in your head who would be the ideal candidate, that's just something that would be satisfying for me to see. Real politics, you work with what you can. You work with what the system allows you to work with. And
Correct.
This was actually a really great decision because it was a talent-based decision. Whereas a lot of decisions in politics are based on relationships
Yes.
and ability to do each other favors in the future. This was legitimately a talent-based decision. The guy with the most experience, with the most rhetorical talent, and with the most established set of skills beat out his competition.
Yeah,
Having seen that speech, there is no doubt that they made the right choice.
Yeah, and even on top of that, he does have like the relationships to boot. Like I guess
he does have the relationships.
Pelosi was pushing for him super hard, apparently. Like Nancy Pelosi,
Great.
of all people.
That makes me thrilled.
Bernie Sanders, of course, endorsed him, but as well as, I guess, Joe Manchin came out and said that this was a big, like, this was a really, really good decision. This is a really good pick. So it's like everybody's coming together. The unity that like has been needed for the Democratic Party like all year since the primary season started. It's it's manifesting before our eyes. It's finally coalescing, and like I'm really hyped to see where it all goes from here. Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, me too, man. Hopefully, I'm gonna be involved in a campaign for sure, but the extent to which I will be involved, I do not know yet. So that is not up to me, and I'll find out about
Sure.
that in the next couple of days. So hopefully, I'll have some good news to share the next time we go live, which will actually be tomorrow night. So I would probably not have any news tomorrow night when we go live.
Okay.
But Stat Pat, I'm pretty wiped after this is being my second live stream of the day.
Yeah.
So do you have any parting thoughts for our fans? Go ahead and you want to close us out?
Balls to the walls, man.
That's nice, dude. Let's end it on that one. That's fucking tight. All right. Well, we'll just remind you guys to know the heart, but vote with the head. And you don't get change in America by asking nicely. Get out there and volunteer because seriously, it's a lot of fun, and you make a lot of great friends, and you get to know people from various different backgrounds that you would otherwise never meet. So go think about volunteering if you
Absolutely.
if you
Start
are even the slightest bit interested.
Start canvassing, guys. Everybody have a good night. See you guys tomorrow.